What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Socially Awkward Podcast. My name's Adam. I am back again with my good friend Ryan. How you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, sir. How's everything going with you?
It's going good, man. Just trying to stay busy. Just trying to not fall apart. I actually went and saw my therapist again today because I went there. Today was the third time I've went. Have you ever done any sort of therapy?
I have, yes. When I was younger, around I would say in 18, went to a therapist and got had a full like analysis and everything, emotional, psychological analysis. Went to group therapy as a kid with my mom. Thought that would be productive for me and my sister, just to see if anything was fucked up in the head or anything. So
you went to therapy. And you didn't necessarily even have anything that was wrong?
Nothing was necessarily wrong. My mom wanted to make sure that everything was cool as a kid. When I became an adult, I went to therapy too. Same thing, just to make sure that I was emotionally stable and cool and everything. I mean, I've had shit happen in my life. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything like that. Some things that people think isn't a big deal, I may think I lessen it sometimes. But yeah,
like what?
I mean, okay.
Let's do it.
All right. You wasn't playing about this.
No, man. You know, Ryan, I've known you for a small amount of time, mainly through, I'd say the majority of our interactions happen. We text a little bit here and there, and that's picking up. But most of it's been through, you know, the Katrina and I's podcast, you know, talking in the chat and stuff. And we've kind of become friends, but, you know, I don't know the first GD thing about you.
You know what? And when you said that the other day, I was like, you know, it's time. It's time that you get to know Ryan. And because, yeah, I do consider you a friend. And I've met friends long distantly and never really met them in person. Well, I met you in person once. But we haven't had that much interaction, though, physical and face-to-face interaction. So, yeah. Absolutely. It makes sense to get to know each other because that's what you do with friends, right?
Yeah.
So touching on what I was talking about a little bit, but yeah, I mean, my raised by a single mother, you know, my grandparents was there to help out. It was me and my younger sister.
Where'd you grow up at?
Oakland, actually. Oakland, California.
So are you like Raiders and Warriors and all that stuff?
So I'm not Raiders. I support the Bay Area. I'm a Niners fan for sure.
Bay Area.
Yeah. So I do support the Bay Area teams, but if the Raiders are actually Las
Vegas now.
Las Vegas now. So yeah. I'm like, I call them the Traders all the time because they went to LA to the Los Angeles and they can't make the damn line up. So I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so I'm a Niners fan. I like the Warriors, but if I had to pick between a team for basketball, I would go with the New York Knicks.
Oh wow! How'd you become a Knicks fan?
So it's funny. My cousin used to go with the Bulls because of Jordan and everything like that. And me, I've never been the bandwagon person. You know?
Yeah.
I've never been like, oh, I got like the Bulls because of Michael Jordan or because of this. So my sister's father lives in New Jersey, and watching, they was watching the game one time. And I was like, okay, cool. He was rooting for the Knicks. So I was like, yeah. I liked the colors sequence and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I was watching the game. It was a major playoff, and it was when John Starks.
Yeah.
He was a real good player. Wasn't a real big like main person, but he was.
I remember Starks for sure.
Okay, cool. So I actually liked him as a player. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah, real hard-nosed guy, huh? Just like short, just like a little bulldog.
Yeah. And like he was good too. Like, I was like, all right, cool. So I just felt, what I do, I don't jump around just because a player leaves something.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna pick a team, I'm loyal to a fault. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm stick with you. I'm it. You gotta like beat my ass or really hurt me for me not to be loyal. So that's what's crazy. But yeah, so just Knicks. I mean, I root for the Knicks. I'll root for the Warriors. You know, it's like I said, as a sport barrier.
So you are a bandwagoner.
No.
You didn't give a shit about the Warriors till about 5-6 years ago. Don't even front, just like
I
everybody
love
else.
Warriors games. No, absolutely not. If the Warriors playing my team, awesome, yay! I root for you, but I'm not gonna like, oh, I'm wearing the jerseys, die hard, and all this. Nah, that's cool.
Go
It's
ahead.
like if your siblings, do good, y'all fight and everything. You can't stand their ass sometimes until you get older and like, yeah, I love you, I support your ass. Okay, be cool.
Is the Warriors, are they actually in San Francisco?
So they were in Oakland. They have their new Coliseum or new stadium in San Francisco. I'm like, but they still are called the Golden State Warriors. Sorry,
Yeah.
Golden State Warriors.
Huh.
So yeah.
Yeah, basketball, man. I wish I could have got more into it. Because I grew up in Oklahoma, we didn't have a pro team. So
Okay.
Because it was like Midwest. I grew up in watching basketball in the '90s, right in the middle, the prime Michael Jordan. And so I was just in love with the Bulls, in love with Jordan. I had the Jordan jerseys, the Pippen jersey. I think I may even get a Rodman jersey at some point.
Okay.
But so I was a big Jordan guy. But then when I became an adult and Oklahoma got the Thunder.
Oh, nice, yes.
So then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm all in. And then, of course, we had Durant. I mean, dude, think of this fucking team. Yeah, we had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, we even had that Serge Ibaka. I mean, dude, we had a team, and they went to the finals, and they were all just babies. You know what I mean? And then they just started leaving, and then they got rid of Harden because they didn't want to pay him what he wanted to be paid. That was a effing mistake. Because if you keep Harden, there's a good chance, he sticks around. Then Kevin and Westbrook, they feel like they I don't know. So now. No, they're all gone doing their own thing, and I'm not gonna lie. Then when NBA went full retard with the woke stuff, then I'm like, okay, well now nobody that I liked initially is there, so I don't know. So I'm just totally disassociated with basketball now, and it sucks because dude, there was a 5-10 year it was way longer than that from like when I was a kid up until maybe 2 years ago or so. I love basketball. I think it's fun to watch. I even like, opposing players, like opposing teams. Like I loved basketball, but now I'm just emotionally I'm out. Like there's just.
Hey, no, I mean to each his own. I mean, and I get like I don't follow sports like that, like die hard. And I mean, I played basketball. I played sports when I was a kid. Just for fun with my friends and all that stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Played baseball. But I'm not a big athlete, I mean, I'll go to a baseball game or go to a sporting event, drink some beers, eat some food, bullshit with my friends and everything like that, the guys or even my family, just to have a good time. But as of like following everything like to the detail and those stats on players, I'm like, that's not me. It's not me.
Did you ever have a time when you were emotionally invested in sports, like you'd get upset if they lost?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, I was like that big time until maybe it was a couple of years ago. Like I remember when Oklahoma Sooners college football, we played Florida for the national championship. I think in 07 or 08.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up being a really close game. We lost at the end. Katrina was crying next to me. We're watching it on TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, something happened, man. And to be fair to basketball, I don't think it was just all the woke stuff, because even college football, which I still really love to watch, I watch the Sooners play all the time. Even that sport, for some reason, something happened in my early mid 30s. I just got emotionally just didn't care about the results of the scores anymore. It doesn't affect me anymore like it used to, which I'm really happy about, because like, give me a fucking break. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm glad that you came to that realization, because something from me I learned something from a guy I used to work at Home Depot, and this guy named Joe. I forget his name. Starts with Joe, G, his last name, but it was Joseph something. Cool guy, and like every time we went on break, and if I saw him on break in the break room, he was reading the newspaper. He always went for the business. He didn't go for the sports like everybody else was looking for the sports, look at the stats and the games from last night and all that stuff like that. But he went always for business. And anytime he was reading a business magazine, financial, something like that. And we sat down and talked one time, and he said, I asked him, I said, you always go for business, you never read anything else. He's like, there's a reason for that. He said, he told me I work here because I want to, not because I have to. He said, I retired already, but I came back because I wanted to get out of the house, and I was remodeling my house. So I figured, hey, come here, work here, get extra cash. I can see all the stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So he said to me, he's like, you see all these guys in here, and nothing wrong with this. He said, they go for the sports. You hear them talking about all the sports stats for their favorite players and their favorite teams and all that stuff like that. I was like, yeah. He said, me, I look at stuff that generates money. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He said, I look at stocks and the numbers on that and the trends on Wall Street and the trends in business and all that stuff, because that's how I look at the same way they look at the sports and the stats for the players and sports teams. That's how I look at business, because whatever you're passionate in and you focus more on, you're going to be more successful in. So if you can rattle off all those stats and names and players, but is it really making you money?
No, it's meaningless.
Yeah. But I mean,
unless you're betting on the games.
Exactly. You have like some trifecta or some parlay or something like that going on, then that's different. But he's like, I do this to see where I should move my money, what I should look into, what I should invest in, the next trend. What I like, and that opened my eyes to a lot of shit.
Yeah.
When he said that, I was like, that makes sense. And that's why I was like, I would never get emotionally over something that does not benefit me financially. Like, I love Star Wars, obviously. I get Star Wars, but I used to get like pissed off when people say, "Oh, you like Star Trek?" Huh? I was like, "No, Star Wars." Oh yeah, well that, and they make fun of stuff like that, like the whole Star Wars, Star Trek. And I was like, why am I getting emotionally invested over this? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was like, and when I stopped letting that bother me, life became a lot better.
Does it? Don't lie. When we're doing our podcast, or me and Katrina's, and you're in the chat, and I make fun of your Star Wars stuff, does that upset you?
No, not at all.
It doesn't,
because it's not my Star Wars. Like, here's the thing.
And I'm just playing around. You know that, right?
I know. And I mean, that's what friends do. You fuck with each other. You bullshit. I mean, but
well, today I'm trying to figure you out. So I'm trying to see how sensitive you are.
I have a lot of tough skin. There's a couple of things that I'll tell you what you don't touch for me. Mm-hmm. My family.
Oh yeah. That's a big one.
That's you don't fuck with my family. You can talk all the shit you want about me. Like, even if it's hateful shit about me, I don't expect you to do it. But anybody, you can talk all shit you want. But when you bring my family into it, we gonna have an issue. Yeah. You don't fuck with my money, and anything that helps generate money for me. Mm-hmm. And if I call you my friend, you're part of my family. I don't call like, seriously. People say, "Oh, that's your friend." Like, that's my acquaintance. Yeah. That's my partner. Yeah. That's this. But if I call, like, I have a friend I went to high school with, a couple of friends, like 2 of them, and I call them my brothers, because they're not just my friends anymore. They're like, hey man, we've been through some shit. We've grown up to each other, and we're still connected, and we're still talking. And I'm here for you. So that's how I look at that. I have that deep connection when I call you my friend. If I bring you into my circle and I call you my friend, I'm there for you. You got to really fuck up for me not to be there for you.
This meet the Fockers type of situation. I mean, circle of trust.
Circle of trust, brother. You got to come in the circle of trust. You want to be in the circle of trust, Adam?
Yes, sir.
But no, seriously. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
All right. So before I horribly derailed you, you were talking about the therapy earlier.
Yeah. So my mom sent me and my sister to it was family therapy at first to see, and we was like, hey, just to see if we were fucked up in the head.
Were you?
No, they said no. Every therapist I've been to have always said that me personally, I have a good grasp on my emotions, and I process things very well. They said that they didn't think me and my sister was emotionally scarred or anything like that from our fathers not being like, well, my father, for me, I'll speak for myself. For my father not being in my life, like, because he wasn't there in my life, like, he has his own little demons he had to deal with. We're cool now. We have a relationship, but yeah, I mean, we had some shit that he had some shit that he had to go through, and I actually look at that as a blessing, And people like, well, how the fuck did, like, how do you, like, because I look at it as, for me, everything happens for a reason. Because if the fact that he wasn't in my life like I wanted him to be or he needed to be, I wouldn't turn out the way I am now. And I'm happy who I am with now. And actually, that has helped me become more of a better father, and drives me to be a better father, because I know what it feels like not to have a father figure in my life like that. My grandfather was there for me. I love him to death. I get a lot of his traits, patience also from him, but my biological father wasn't there for me like I needed him. My sister's father was there. He filled in when he could, but still, it's not, having your own father isn't the same, you know?
Yeah.
So, and my mom, she tried her damn hard. She did her best. I mean, not even to say try. She did her damn thing as a woman, but she even knew that as a woman, there's things you can't teach a boy.
No, you need that father figure that could, for lack of a better phrase, like scare your kids straight.
Yeah.
I mean, be the disciplinarian, you know, right from wrong. And of course, mom can do, you know, she can teach right from wrong and all that. But it just, when your mom is getting on to you, it doesn't carry the same weight as a father.
It doesn't. And it's funny that you say that, because we talked about this all the time. My mom used to ask me like, "Hey, why do I have to tell you like 3 times?" And then the third time I have to yell at you for you to get you to do something. I was like, "Oh shit!" And when I got older, I realized that, like, yes, you're absolutely correct.
More scared over, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that she could hit me and she'll hurt me if you want. I mean, I got ass whoopings. Well, I didn't get beat. I want to get that clear. I didn't get beat.
It was the 90s. It's fine.
I got spankings. I got a whooping, whatever you want to call it. So I wasn't beat. I wasn't a child abused. So I appreciate every.
Why are you bragging, dude? Jesus Christ. My mom would hit me with brooms and vacuum cleaners.
That's not child. Damn, vacuum cleaner.
But I was like a foot taller than my mom. She knew she couldn't do anything, so she just hit me with shit.
Hey, we all went through it to some degree.
I think I got hit in the head with a plunger once, dude.
Oh, fuck. Laugh at your pain. Oh, I can imagine.
It's hilarious.
You walk around
it is.
Why'd you do that? Oh, fuck. But no, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's different from a dad and a mom. That voice, and actually, it's actually been studies about that. Like, the deeper voice, it just intimidates and scares. So it's like a lion. Have you ever actually heard a lion roar, like in person?
No, that'd be amazing.
Bro, scariest shit ever. I literally heard that shit. Oh, I had chills. It like stopped me in my fucking, like.
Where did you hear it?
The San Francisco Zoo. They were doing it. Was on. Take your kids to a zoo on a Wednesday. I have a running joke. Well, I work from home.
Yeah.
But yeah, they was doing a feeding, and the lion roared to get the food.
Really?
Bro, like we was like maybe not even 20 feet away. It was like a cage. It was 5 feet away.
Wow.
It's bone chilling.
Because you feel that billion-year primal DNA, because it's like, and look, I'm just talking out of my ass. This could be wrong, but I bet you, if you were just so happened to run into or see a lion do that in Africa, like in the wild, it'd probably be even scarier.
It would be. There's documentaries about that, like the roar of a wild lion. That literally scares animals in fear, and it's actually like a way that they use to hunt. Like, it's a warning. If you have a roar that can go a mile across the fucking savannah.
Yeah, man, just thinking of a lion and tigers too.
Yeah,
like whenever, like the Tiger King, I'm sure you saw that. Everyone saw the Tiger King. Those lions or those tigers, man, just the ones even in captivity, just the size of those cats are just their heads are like this big around.
Yeah.
I mean, if they came after you with the intent to kill you, it's 100, unless you have a gun, you can defend yourself a lot before they get there. Let's just say they catch you out in the wild, you're 100% dead within a second or two. Yeah. Just the sheer strength I mean, if you look at them, especially the lions, you can see it because they have the really short hair everywhere. I mean, it's just muscle and just sheer like ferocity and just you can't get any more like apex predator than like a tiger. You know what I mean? It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine seeing one of those mother effers without them being on the other side of a cage.
Bro, like that's scared to live. Like, and you're right on that one, 100%. It's just like, oh my god, like if you see a lion in the wild, like you're done. Like,
No,
man,
yep.
that's why my wife and everybody, like, oh, you should do a safari, and I'm like, is there a cage that's keeping me in the truck? Because if there's not a cage that's keeping me away from that motherfuckers, no, I'm not just sitting in an open thing like, oh yeah, do you know they work in, well, tigers don't, but they can, but lions work in packs. So I'm like,
And the females hunt, don't they?
yeah, the females hunt. The males come out there every once in a while if they need to defend what they need to do, but females hunt. They, man, it's like Jurassic Park. Watch that shit. The Velociraptors. Lions will do that shit too. They'll coordinate some shit. Oh yeah, look at us, ha ha ha! And behind you, next thing you know, he's snatched up.
Yeah, I have all the respect in the world for big cats, like all of them, man. Like cheetahs, the panthers, like those things will fuck your world up, and it doesn't take very long.
That's why, yeah, I don't do nature like that. Like, damn, nature, you scary.
So,
cool.
So you have a good relationship with your. Did you know your dad growing up?
Yeah. I mean, my dad's in my life now. So out of 18 years, I tell the story all the time to people. I was like, out of 18 years, I've grown up from a kid to 18 years old. I spent amount of maybe a full year with my father.
Okay.
And I knew him, and I didn't understand at the time why he was in my life as a kid. But I just built a defense mechanisms, apparently, according to the therapist, that is that I just block shit off. I will just like out of sight, out of mind. And thank God I had my grandfather there. I did have a male figure there, a positive male role model, and my sister's father too. But yeah, I mean, when I got older to understand why, I was like, everything happens for a reason. He had a drug problem. And I'm like, I'm glad that he wasn't around, that I had to experience that life of him being like having that issue. So because that would have probably hurt me, I would end up falling into that statistic too of having some type of addiction. So I'm glad. I mean, I'm just like, hey, I mean, I had uncles that did shit like that, and I stayed away from that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's everything. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. So I'm just glad.
Isn't it weird how some people can be raised in certain environments and turn out exactly like their parents, and some people are raised in certain type of environments and they turn out to be the exact opposite. So like what you're saying, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but because of your dad not being there, now you've like made a conscious effort, like, damn, I'm gonna be there for my kids. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
like my thing, from when I grew up is similar. Just I never had a heart to heart with my dad. Like he never sat me down and gave me any like life lessons. My mom was always gone. They were both druggies and blah blah blah. And I'm so turned off to that stuff now. Now, like Katrina and I, we take our edibles here that we get from the dispensary, and we're always home, and we're just parents. And I talk to my daughters all the time, dude. They probably get sick of me. I mean, anytime, like sometimes I'll just go in the room and I'll sit on their bed. I'm like, what's up? Like what's, how is everything going okay? Is anything you need to talk about? How was school today? And they'll tell me about something. Like my youngest daughter is, I've said this a billion times, but she's got some disability, so her body's kind of disformed, and every now and then she'll get made fun of at school. So I'll talk to her about that stuff, and it's just real conversations, to help your kids get through. I feel like you should be your kid's therapist. If you do a decent job as a parent, I'm not saying people are bad parents for not doing this, but I think a job as a parent is to be kind of a psychologist and talk them through stuff, and talk to them about your experiences, and try to relate the best you can. It's hard to relate to someone with disabilities because I'm not disabled, but just to be positive, give them the facts, don't lie to them, just heart to heart parent talks. I've never once in my goddamn life had that when I was growing up, so that made me want to do it. I didn't even start drinking alcohol. I did once when I was 18. Yeah, alcohol poisoning. It was right after I graduated. And then I didn't until I was 28. Because I hated the thought of alcohol. I hated the thought of drugs. Hated the thought of all that stuff. I was so turned off because I saw how I grew up. I was so turned off by it that I just hated anybody who did it. Not hate them, but just didn't hang around those kind of people. But knowing what my environment was, because the decisions my parents made, 100% made me a better parent, made me the dad I am today. But there's some people that grow up around the drugs and the violence and the alcohol, and they just come in right behind them and do the exact same thing. And I wonder, what happens to those? How do people be raised up in a system? This is kind of rhetorical, but how do people get raised up in a system and then decide, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing?
That's a damn good question. I mean, I know it's a rhetorical one, but that's actually, it shouldn't even be a rhetorical. It should be a legitimate, literal question, because, I mean, I know there's an answer to it, but at the same time, everyone's different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people just, it's kind of a fight and flight situation too, because some people just react differently to certain situations. And I can't speak for everybody, but I have a half brother, and I haven't talked to him in a while, by choice, because of some personal matters something that he did and bothered me. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I mean, if you'll be like that, I ain't trying to be in your life like that. So, and he hasn't contacted me ever since. I mean, he blocked me on Facebook. I'm like, that's cool. I'm straight.
So he knows that you're not talking to him because of the thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a thing that he approached me a certain way. I'm like, I ain't feeling that. If you'll be like that all the time, I'm straight. I don't need you in my life like that.
Wow.
And he got pissed off, and he was like, all right, well, and I haven't talked to him since.
Is he somebody?
Talked to his mom.
Is he somebody that you have to see often?
Nope.
So it's not like a family thing where you see each other all the time at family gatherings and stuff?
No. Yeah, he has a rocky situation with my dad. It was fucked up too about this one is that he actually had the opportunity to live with my dad, our fathers, because our father got clean and got his life together around that time. And I'm like, and he always bitched that, oh, well, he wasn't there for us and this. And I was like, no, he wasn't there for me. So why are you upset when you had the opportunity to do what I didn't do? I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I wanted to go live with him. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be there and have a father in my life, and you had the opportunity and you're bitching about it. I don't get that. And he's like, oh, you don't understand. I'm like, how do I not understand? Like, that's like saying oh, you don't have money, but you're broke, but you'll never experience money. The troubles that it comes with having money. It's like, you can't tell it to a poor person, or somebody who, no, fuck that. You can't, nah. So yeah, I was like, and that's not the reason why I'm not talking to him like that. And I cut him out of his life. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta cut family out too. I mean, it makes no sense if you feel like you're being used or something like that, or something that's happening. Don't let that negativity into your life like that. Don't let somebody manipulate you. So I refuse to do that.
Good for you. It's not good to have people in your life that are. I mean, dude, we have one life on this earth, as far as we know, mm-hmm. and you can't spend it around people that. Again, I don't know what the situation is, but yeah, man.
Yeah, and just go ahead.
I was just gonna say that good thing for me. I don't have a whole lot of friends, so mm-hmm. and I don't really talk. Dude, if it wasn't for Katrina, and sometimes my daughters when they're at school, I literally wouldn't need a cell phone. Okay. It's like,
Damn.
like, I mean, my brother Matt texts me every now and then. We have a group chat with me, my brother Matt, my brother Jacob. We send each other like memes and stuff and talk about when we're going to play Call of Duty. But as far as like the people I need to talk to, I would, dude, if I need a cell phone for a few things, I would, I'll go get damn flip phone. I'm perfectly fine with having a Motorola Razr. I'd go back to that if I could.
Nice. Well, you can always talk to me if you ever need to talk. I'm here for you, brother.
Well, hey, this podcast gets me talking to, because my problem is just like with my therapist, it takes me a little bit to really sink into it because I don't talk to anybody. I've never talked to a stranger about my problems because, I mean, who talks to strangers about their problems? But
yeah,
I've talked to my wife. We talk about stuff, but it's just like we just go back and forth with our own same little issues, and we try to. But it actually helps to go talk to a unbiased third party. Like look, I'll be honest. I've been to the therapy 3 weeks in a row now, and we haven't talked about anything like transforming or anything like big aha. I mean, she's had a few little exercises for me, and but it's very casual. It's very we're literally just talking about the stuff. Like there's no like big moment like in Good Will Hunting where I'm crying on her shoulder and shit. It's just we're just talking about stuff, and it fucking helps. It just I don't know why. It's very subtle, but it just kind of subtly makes me. It's almost like it allows me to step outside of the situation for real. Actually say it out loud to somebody else, because there's a lot of times I feel like people, and I hope this makes sense, but I feel like there's a lot of times where, let's say you're upset about something with, let's say your spouse or someone close to you, and it's like a reoccurring problem, but then whenever you can step back from that and like talk to like a therapist or something, and then you talk about it with them, for whatever reason, that thing that really upset you and thing that really you thought was really important, you're able to pan back a little bit and realize that your overall relationships with these people are what's important, not these little details that you get hung up on. And I don't know if I articulated that well, but but therapy is just, for whatever reason, it's helped me just kind of talk it out with somebody else and just be calmer about stuff, because that's my number one thing. And I joke about this on the podcast, but I'm really not joking. If I can like smooth out my short temper, I'm basically the perfect husband, right? Like I don't do anything. I'm always here. I fix shit around the house. I make her laugh every day, but every now and then I got to throw in, I'm making her cry, and that's what I'm trying to get rid of. You know what I mean?
I get that 100%. I understand what you mean. It's funny what you just described, and you did articulate that very well. What you articulated is what I tell my wife all the time is don't sweat the small stuff. And because the small stuff can build up until the point that you feel like it's a big thing, and it's really not. You just made it a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's a whole bunch of small things that you haven't let out and just talked about and expressed how that made you feel, and you feel that this is my own personal experience, that it's bigger than it is, and really in all reality it's not. It's like, why are you stressing over that? Okay, like my pet peeves, and my wife knows this, she'll run water in the sink and let the dishes soak. We have a fucking dishwasher. I'm like, why do you do that? And like she'll let it sit there for overnight, a whole day. I'm like, what's the purpose of that? And she's like,
so she'll do that and then put them in the dishwasher. Is that what you're saying?
Well, sometimes yes, or I'll end up putting them in the dishwasher. I'm like, what's the purpose of that? She's like, oh, just let them soak. That's the dishwasher's job. It's just like, that's why we have it. It's going to do all that for you. Rinse it off, put it in the dishwasher, and that's a pet peeve. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Don't sweat the small shit. That's what she wants to do. Let it go. Like, is it messing? Unless it's like bringing maggots or something like that in the house, it doesn't matter. It's not hurting nobody.
Dishwashers. That's funny. Just I used to be one of those people who would. I used to be one of those people that would scrub each dish, like especially if the food was kind of hard. I would scrub the dish a little bit, just try to get it pretty much fucking clean, and then stick it in the dishwasher. So something happened to me, Ryan, about within the last year. I don't give a fuck. I mean, obviously there's a sandwich sitting on it. I'll throw the sandwich away. But
Yeah.
hard food, soft food, I don't care if it's grease. I don't care if it's leftover beans from a burrito. I just toss it in there now. I don't give a fuck. The dishwasher is gonna clean as much as it's gonna clean, and we're just gonna be happy with the results. Okay, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about what's on that plate. It's just too. Who cares, dude?
Yeah.
I've spent so much time sweating every small thing. I care about every little detail of everything. So I'm down there. So I'm like scraping the food off the plate before I put it into this machine that's supposed to fix all that. You know what I mean? It's just mind numbing.
I was the same way. I was literally the fucking same way. I swear to God, I was the same way. It was the funny, like this past year, I'm like, why am I washing these dishes to put in the dishwasher? It makes no fucking sense. This makes no fucking sense. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, trust the dishwasher.
I was like, boom. I rinsed it off a little bit, throw some water on it. Hopefully, hey, you better hopefully that's gonna work for you. Put it in there. I turn that shit on. I'm like, because if it's not coming out clean, I'm gonna run it again.
Hey, you care more than me, dude. I stopped putting anything on them. I put them in there fucking dry bone. It's gonna clean what's gonna clean, and then I'm out.
Yeah, no, I totally get it because I was trained as a kid to do that. To rinse it off and you have to pre-wash it or pre-rinse. I'm like, why? It's a fucking dishwasher. But then like,
you know what? I bet the dishwashers back then just didn't work as well.
Probably. Nope. I agree.
So if you're out there and if you have a newer dishwasher and you're scrubbing the dishes before you put them in there, cut that shit out. Just stuff them in there and trust the process. That's what we're trying to say. First of all, it makes you a happier person. You're like, dude, I just saved myself like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of scrubbing dishes.
Exactly,
like
man.
You felt rebellious. You just stick them in there and say, fuck it. and you know deep down that hard, dry, refried beans from last night, that's not coming all the way off, but you just don't care anymore.
Yep. You really don't. It's like, fuck it. We'll see what happens. And if you get to a point in your life, and I think it's around 40, and we're both around 40 right now.
Yep.
It was like, fuck it. 39, and it was like, you start just really pondering about shit. Like, is that extra 5 minutes really worth it? No, it's not.
Yeah, it's like cost to benefit. Like you start to realize, wait a minute, I'm like halfway done here if I'm lucky with my life. I'm 40. Let's say if I get lucky enough to make it to 80, then I'm about halfway done. It's like, dude, I don't have time to scrub every fucking molecule off the dish before I put it in the dishwasher. Like I don't have time for that anymore.
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's how I look at life. It's like, I don't sweat that shit anymore. I'm like, whatever. No. And it used to piss my wife off so fucking much. Like, no, I wouldn't say piss her off. It was baffle her because it didn't piss her off. It was like, how does the little stuff doesn't bother you? Our roof caved in one time. We rent right now, and our roof caved in. Well, when it was written, and she was like, it was from a storm. She's like, what the fuck? I was like, damn. Okay. She's like, damn. Okay. I was like, yeah. She said, well, what are we gonna do? We gonna call the landlord. That's what we're gonna do. Let them deal with this shit. So take pictures and call. It was at night, right before we went to bed. I'm like,
wow.
And they came to deal with it and prepared it. She said, well, and I did a whole video on Facebook about it. Like, don't sweat the small shit. I mean, our roof just fell in from the storm.
Jesus.
I'm perfectly fine. She's like, no one got hurt. We're good.
Did it? I mean, was it raining? Was your house getting rained in? And I mean, the whole bit?
It was raining. Yeah. It caved in, and then so it had a bad storm, and then I guess it just had rot in the some of the beams or something like that, and the landlord came out the next day because we sent pictures last night. It was in the living room. So I'm like, okay. And like, so they came over, they had to redo the floors. I'm like, hey, it's cool. And I'm like, I'm not tripping. But they was on it. They was on it fast. So I was like, she's like, how are you so calm? I was like, we're safe. We're not hurt. We still have half a roof over our head. We're cool. I mean, if we need, like, we don't have to deal with this shit, thank God, because it's not, we're renting, so the landlords had to deal with it. So I was like, oh yeah, and they're like, oh, and people just, I mean, people got it on the message. So I don't sweat the small shit anymore. I was like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely need to get better at. Do you did you used to have a temper at any point and then calm down, or have you always been pretty relaxed about
So
stuff?
no, I never really had a temper. I You ever have as a kid you used to get so mad that you cried as a boy?
No, I
See,
never got that mad. I mean, I've got that mad, I, but that's not how I handled it.
see, and that's how because I'm an introvert by nature. I mean, I've always been an introvert, and I was very passive. I wouldn't. I just sit back and observe shit and watched it. I wouldn't speak up and I was soft spoken and everything like
Mhm.
that. And if I got mad, like even my mom or my grandparents, or I got in trouble or something like that, and I couldn't like my aunties or like that, I couldn't verbalize myself. I would get so mad and like 'cause I let stuff build up that I couldn't articulate. I would just cry because I'm like that's like I'm fucking enraged. Like oh fuck this shit. Like I wouldn't cuss, but I would just cry. Just like tears just come down because I couldn't say what I wanted to say. And that's that I wouldn't call it anger issues. I just learned how to bundle shit down, and I learned that that's not healthy.
Yeah, my next question is, how many people have you murdered?
Well,
Because with shit like that's like serial killer shit, man.
legally or illegally?
Let's start with legally. Like we'll get you canceled later.
Legally, none. Well, probably a million every day.
Jesus, Ryan. See, we're
I'm
guys
talking about
for the
masturbation.
people watching. For the people watching, we're gonna figure this dude out. Okay, he's acting all good, and you
So
know.
here's the thing. If you think that I'm all good and everything,
I
I'm not
want.
a bad person. So I have fucked up things happen to me, but I just know that I've always been taught treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst shit I've done in my life, I would say, that like intentionally done, like
Hmm.
fucked up. I tried to flood somebody's basement as a kid. Think it was a joke. Got my ass whooped by my grandfather because like, oh, I stole $20. I'll fucking never steal again because of that. Got my ass whooped from my grandfather.
Wait, hold on. You're moving way too fast. You try to flood someone's basement,
Yeah,
or you?
well, it wasn't a flooding of the basement. I took their hose because I want to go. We went to me and my cousin went to my friend's house, and he couldn't come outside. I was like, "Hey, come outside. We want to play. Let's hang out, or let us come inside so we can play video games with you." He
Uh-huh.
said, "No, I can't." And my parents said no. So he's like, "So my cousin gave me the idea." He said, "Well, if you want to come outside, let's get his water hose and put it in his basement and turn it on. Just leave." I was like, "Okay." So
Jesus.
I did that. We did that. They fucking it was us called our parents. I got my ass whooped. Oh my god, I will never forget that whooping. I was like, oh shit. And then so yeah, so that's one thing. um it didn't flood. It got the basement wet a little bit because they turned it up. It actually got flooded. A basement need a
Yeah.
lot of fucking water
Yeah.
to flood it. So
That's
no,
annoying as shit, though. You
yeah,
guys put water in the basement. Imagine it not flooding, but it's like still like soaking wet. That'd be so annoying.
yeah. I mean, so what else? The $20. Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm like at my elementary school or grade school, wherever we called it. They had like after school stores where you can buy popcorn or snacks like that, or
Mm.
school supplies. And that, fucking being I would say poor, but not having money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you wanted to have nice little things like cool things. So my grandparents had $20 on their dresser.
Said that'll buy
And
a lot of candy. Yay, yay.
man, back in the fucking
Oh yeah.
what was it, 80s. Oh yeah. And so I'm like, I just take it. I didn't ask, just took it to school, bought popcorn, heading home, went to the corner store on the way home. So my friends like, oh, bought my friends fucking shit, and like, oh yeah, here we go. School called my grandparents was like, hey, yeah, Ryan has he had a $20 bill. I don't know if you guys sent that with him. I guess that was a lot of money back then, and 20
Oh
bucks
yeah.
in the 80s, it goes a long way because
Oh
back
yeah.
then, like You get a candy bar for 50 cents or 25
Bread,
cents.
it's like 50
Yeah.
cents a loaf. And yeah.
Oh, we sound like we got into that age now, Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to walk to school in the snow uphill both ways.
Right.
We're that old.
But yeah, so they called my grandparents and my mom and say, hey, yeah, this, that, and whoo, that was first time I ever got an ass whooping from my grandfather.
Did you buy food, and eat it, and like you got your money's worth, right?
Yeah, I had $5. So yeah, I had $5 when I got back home. It was like
$15.
out of 20.
That's I bet you got a lot of snacks for that.
Well, see, that's the me. I'm a type of person. I'm very giving, so I bought my friends shit too. I was like, oh yeah, here, you want some candy? Oh, you want some bag of chips? I don't care. Want soda? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you made a lot of friends that day.
Yeah. Fuck. I was like, oh, and I didn't realize that. Like, and that's the thing is like people take my kindness for weakness. So, yeah, it was like fucking. I'll give my shirt off my back to my friends. Like people who I could. That's why I say I can. If I call you my friend, you're basically family, and I'm gonna take care of you. Like that, I'm gonna be there for you. Till you fuck me over. If you fuck me over, then stupid. I had no problem cutting you off.
That's it. Yeah. I've never really had a problem cutting people off out of my life. I just I have a lot of, I wouldn't say mistrust, but I'm always like, until I actually trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I just have walls up because I was hurt. Like, dude, my mom, like I said, was gone all the time, and just the resentment. I trust Katrina with all my heart, you know, but we've been together for 20 years now. But whenever I feel like someone is not lying, but like someone is being like
deceitful,
manipulative, like anything that I guess I equate with those feelings I had towards my parents, I'm like, I'm not going through this again. Boop, you're out. That's it. Bye. And I do it quick and swift, and it's like cold as ice. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing if those people are acting like that. They don't deserve to be in your life. So
not a bad thing at all. I mean, I have those walls up too. I'm very cautious. Like I said, I'll let you. I'll keep you at arm's distance if I get that vibe from you. Like I get feeling like I'm not feeling you, and I'll associate with you and talk to you. But then if I like, nope, you ain't good for me at all, or anybody who I'm around, so I'm cool, and I'll just observe and watch, and like I'll laugh and talk to you and ha ha ha, and okay, cool, yeah, okay, yeah, and fill the face and everything, and like, oh my fucking god, my skin is crawling. What the fuck? Like, I've had people in my life that I told my wife's like, really? Like that person? I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking with them. I don't fuck with them.
Wow.
Like, but you're hella cool with them. I'm not cool with them. I'm being cordial.
Well, if you ever get to that point with me, let me know, motherfucker. I don't know if you noticed because we're doing a podcast right now. So if you don't want, if you're not my friend anymore, that'd be useful information to me.
No, trust me, I have no problem letting people know. So you have no worries about that one. I would say, hey, Adam, fuck you, and yeah, you're cool. You're cool. I mean, and like I said, as long as if you're upfront who you are, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you like, I don't see you've never tried to mask who you are. You haven't. You it's like this is what you get.
I tell people I'm kind of a dick sometimes. I'm trying to get better at it. I don't know what to tell you.
But see, here's the thing. We're all dicks at sometimes. Men in general are dicks. It's in our nature. We're jerks. We're fucking jerks. And it's a matter of how much of a jerk you are. Depends on what the type of jerk you are too. So, here's something that you don't know about me. So I was actually in a volunteer program. A lot of people don't know this about me, and we mentor people. It was a mentorship type of thing. We did a whole seminar, and it was about masculinity shit. Good shit. Like the people who I can't go too much into it because it's still out there. It's still happening, and it was all positive. It was more about men being men, and fucking Google's listening to me. Men being men, and getting in touch with their masculinity and their masculine power. And we're not talking about toxic masculinity. We talk about men being fucking men.
Yeah.
Like, what makes a man, and how to channel that and how to actually use that for the good and positivity,
Yeah.
and keep that going on, because nothing's wrong with masculinity. That's actually very good. There is toxic shit, but it's fine to have it around your comrades and be and bullshit and fuck around, but you should never bullshit another man. You that's the two things men have is something I learned is their word and their balls. That's the two things men have in this world. They come in this world with their word and their balls, and they leave out this world with their word and their balls. And well, some don't. You can actually get that cut off if you want to, but and that's fine. But they don't consider themselves men anymore. So yeah, no. So yeah, I'm on point. Yeah. So it's just good shit. So we did a lot of stuff, and I learned a lot of stuff about myself, just self-worth as a man, and that helped me a lot. And I learned my purpose in life early, at 24 years old, and it was just nice. I'm like, you know what? Because it made sense, and it just served me right. So that takes a lot, and it helps a lot in my life in general, just to be a better person too.
Well, masculinity is just, I know a lot of this like new toxic masculinity talk. Look, assholes are assholes, okay? Because real masculinity is not toxic. Like, to me,
No.
it's almost an oxymoron, because if you're being like actually masculine and what it means to be masculine man, you're not being toxic. You have no reason to be toxic. I wish there was a different phrase. I don't know. I don't really want to get into this. We may disagree or agree on this, but I feel like some of the new, like, I'm like a classical feminist in the way that I want women to have the same rights as men. I mean, I want equality. I want them to be, men and women to be equally respected, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I feel like the new modern, like third wave feminism is more about like hating men. We don't need no men, or we don't need men. Men and women are completely equal in every way, even ways that don't make sense, like physically, which we know that's not true. It's just like crazy. And what they've done is they've demeaned masculinity and called it like toxic. Like, if you're a manly man, somehow the more manly you are, the more toxic that is, and the more likely you are to do toxic things if you're really super masculine. Dude, one of the most masculine men that I don't know, but I've watched a lot is Joe Rogan. He's a fucking jiu-jitsu black belt, UFC commentator, vulgar stand-up comedian. Like, he looks like a meathead. But dude, I don't count how many times on this podcast I've seen him cry. He's a great listener. He cares. I mean, he's a very liberal. He says I'm a liberal. You wouldn't guess by looking at him, but because he looks like a meathead, somebody that you would like. If you think of toxic masculinity, you think someone who looks like that. But it's just, and he is a very masculine man. But at the same time, he has feelings. He shares those feelings. He's for as far as we know, is a great dad, and he's a great friend, and he talks to everybody on all walks of life. And my point is that true masculinity is not toxic. It's about being a man, taking care of responsibilities, being a protector of your family, having the ability to hurt people, but not doing it unless it's necessary. We men need to be masculine. And look, I understand there's different variations. Not every man, someone that was born a man, is wired that way. That's fine. But as a whole, like how we look at men, like we can't look at men as a whole and be like masculinity is bad and make them more effeminate like women and lose that, like, what it means to be a man. I think that's really bad for society, because we need men. And by the way, we need women. Like, and we're different. But that doesn't mean better or worse. It just means different. Women have an extremely important role in society, and men have an extremely important role in society. But the problem is that we're trying to make the man's role less important, and we're trying to feminize it. And I think that's I don't like that.
I'm on board with you on that one. And
sometimes, Ryan, by the way, sometimes you just got to cut me off, okay?
No,
because I talked for too long.
You're going somewhere with this one. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get this. I want to touch on this a whole episode of this one. It's not gonna happen in this one, but this is a good topic just for the fact of this. You were going somewhere, and this is a great topic. You're on point. Now, feminism and masculinity, they need each other. It's a balance. I don't care what anybody says. Like, it balances everything.
Yeah.
Every man has masculinity, and we have a feminine side to us too. But you have to stay in touch with your masculinity side, because that is what makes you gets things going.
Yeah.
They're part of that. Different levels of it. And people like I know you don't watch anime, but I watch anime, and there's a anime called Dr. Stone, and it's pretty cool because they talk about if the world went to apocalypse and somehow people died off like that, or froze up, something happened, and what happened was the only the strongest survives in the caveman days.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand, there was both. There wasn't just beefy cavemen. There was people who weren't just naturally buff and strong, super strong. There were intellectual ones. That's just nature. People who caught on faster, who learned faster. That's a different type of masculinity. Like, you can be an alpha, a smart ass motherfucker, and still be an alpha. You don't have to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger buff or a Incredible Hulk buff.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. People look at masculinity differently, just as they look at being feminine differently, and that's fine. But people can't say this is toxic because you don't agree with one certain way. If you're being mean and fucking rude and a jerk, or just being disrespectful to somebody, then yeah, check your fucking self.
But my point was, that's when someone's acting like that, that's just that person being toxic. That's not
exactly,
because that's not masculinity.
Exactly.
So
yes.
I've said before, and I haven't thought about it enough to know if I 100% think this, but I've said something like toxic masculinity doesn't exist. Like, it can't exist, because people that are acting like that, that's not masculinity. Like that's insecurities. That's something else. Like, that's not masculinity. So the word toxic masculinity to me is literally just doesn't make, they don't even go together. They don't make sense.
That's a fucking valid point, man. I get what you're saying, and everybody likes to label shit. That's what's great. Everybody likes to put a label on something, and unfortunately, people draw into that and use that to their advantage and try to tear shit down when they need to actually start building up and stop. I mean, you gotta tear things down to build things up, but if you don't know what you're trying to fucking build up, don't try to tear shit down. Don't try to fucking ridicule a group, or just like I had a conversation with somebody on TikTok the other day, and a lot of people generalizes people, like put men in a generalized men.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why do you have to generalize? And I get when you generalize people, it's a if the shoe fits scenario. And I'm like, I understand that, because I treat the women in my life with utmost respect. They are queens to me, queens and princesses to me. That's how I've been taught to treat women.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple, because that's just respect. That's common knowledge. And I mean, if you're not doing that, it's crazy. So for me, when I used to get offended when say, "Oh, man," and all that shit like that, but I was like, you know what? I get what you're saying. You don't know how to articulate properly.
Well, the problem is they'll have a experience with a bad person who happens to be a man.
Yes.
See, and that's what a lot of people do. They'll say, they act like the person's sex or race is like the most important thing in that sentence, when the most important thing is the action of the race or the gender or whatever. So in that case, the woman's probably had a bad boyfriend or two. So it's the fact that they're a man is like the largest thing in their brain at that point. When the reality is, no, you were with a bad person who happened to be a man. You know, because there's a lot of people. There are really good people who happen to be white, or happen to be a man, or happen to be black, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's, as corny as it sounds, I hate to simplify it like this, but there's good and bad in every race, every man and woman. There's bad people, and sometimes bad people get paired up with another bad person or a good person, and sometimes, but you can't generalize everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You don't beat women. I don't beat women. Like, we're not toxic. I mean, some people may think I'm toxic, but sometimes I get a little snarky on social media just to rile people up, and I shouldn't do that. And I've really tried to slow down. I really haven't posted much on Twitter.
It happens. I do the same shit sometimes. It's like sometimes I wake up choosing fucking violence. I'm like, fuck it. Who wants the fucking beef? Let's go. But no, I get what you're saying, and 100%. I mean, people, what are you saying? People generalize shit like that, and people had that experience. Like, I'm about to go even deeper. Eventually, probably like in the next 2 years, I'm probably gonna start writing a book. But as a kid, I was molested. It wasn't by nobody in my family. My mom and my grandparents, they know about this, and that's why I got therapy when I got older, just to get some shit cleared up, because I went through some phase. I'm like, what the fuck? But I was molested as a kid, and at the time I thought it was fine. I was like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. It was by a guy, and I'm like, this is supposed to happen, this and this, and I'm like, no, it just don't feel right. So, but I don't go and blame every fucking guy that I have trust issues with men, or black men. No, I still trust them. I was in a situation with somebody that wasn't good. I was molested.
Yeah.
And I dealt with that trauma. So yeah, I'm not fucking perfect. See.
Yeah. But it's an important thing you're saying, though, because you're saying what are you saying? You're saying I don't have trust issues. Yeah. You're saying I don't have trust issues with other men that are men or black or whatever, but I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I had it. Now it's leaving.
Oh no.
Well, that's why it's the Socially Awkward Podcast, people. Sometimes my awkward brain just stops working right in mid-sentence.
It happens. It happens to all of us. That stuff called 40-year-old fog right there.
You guys get it. He was molested and it sucks, but he's dealing with it. Okay, get off his fucking back. Okay,
and that's what life is about. It's like, and I'm not trying to lessen anyone's trauma or being a victim. I believe that you do need to heal from it, and you have to address it to heal from it. Because if I never actually dealt with it and addressed it, and just kept it to myself,
you'd be a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I was even fucked up, and thank God I did deal with it. And the therapist was like, "No, you have a really good grasp on your emotions and your feelings, and I think we can bypass that now, because we went the whole session like, no, you have a good grasp on your emotions and feelings." So it was more, I used therapy to, go deep wherever I had found out, and and deal with whatever I had to deal with, and heal.
Yeah,
that's what ultimately came to, is like healing. I mean, my whole thing is like, I'm not gonna let bad shit that happened to me happen to other people. And especially my kids. So yeah, I mean, like, I can go even deep more. Like, I make sure I've always talked to my kids, like, because what happened to me, I'm like, hey, had at a young age, talk to my son about sex and all that stuff like that. I want to do the same thing with my daughter. Make sure her mom and my wife is all involved with it, because I'm like, the talk of sexual activity as a kid. I'm not going to over sexualize everything like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, hey, this is what's going on. Is this okay? Has this happened to you? And I had that talk with my son to make sure that he wasn't put in that same situation as I was.
And he knows right then and there that something is not right is happening.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So like, hey, if this happens, you please come tell me. You will not be in trouble.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk about this. I'm not gonna tell you that. I didn't tell him till older. I was like, I would have killed anybody who fucking did that to you. But
Yeah.
I need to know that. I don't care if it's your mom or your uncle or your friend, your neighbor. Let me know so I can tell you what to do in that situation. Being nice as a father, because I don't want to scare them away. So, no, and I use all my life experiences to have a better quality of life for others who I surround and touch as well. And that's actually part of my purpose, life purpose.
Well, Ryan, you're doing the Lord's work. Hey, we made it another hour and 5 minutes.
We did.
Well, guys, we are out of here. We will have another episode for you guys dropping on Thursday. This one should be out on Tuesday. So please like the video. Please subscribe to the podcast. We'll be doing this until Ryan gets sick of me.
Well, I guess we'll be doing this till fucking in their 70s. And fucking, by that time we'll have holograms and have the fucking little be in people's living room.
All right, guys. Ryan, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right, brother.